all these toys that were in here were somebody's. We don't know what they went through, but they're here now, and they're gonna bring new memories to somebody else. I have so many people come in here with their grandchildren, with their own children, and at first they come in and they're like, "Ah, don't go in there." You know, I hear them. They open the door, "Don't go in there, don't go in there." You know, it's just toys. Next thing you know, they're walking around, they're like, "Hey, I used to have that when I was a kid. That was the last toy my mom bought me before she passed away." Or, "Hey, you know, I remember my grandpa buying me this." Everybody that comes in here, I like to hear their story, their background. My name is Eddie, aka Mr. Injuface Toys. I have my 9 to 5, but I'm currently an owner of Injuface Toy store here in the city of Baldwin Park. I've been doing this since, you know, I was small. I've always wanted to collect, so my thing back then was collecting toy guns. I think it hit off when I turned 22. That's when it really started hitting me. That's when I started collecting the Marvel Legends. That got me to the point where I wanted to do that. I wanted to have a toy room full of toys. So then that finished like around, I turned 20, 25, so it only lasted a couple years. When I got with my wife in 2015, that's when she was like, "What do you like? Do you have hobbies?" At the moment, I was just at home being a couch potato. And then next thing you know, she's like, "Well, I used to like vintage toys." We went out to Cape and Cows. And I was like, "Yeah, I remember there's a store out here in Orange County called Cape and Cows." I saw Marvel, the Toy Biz one, and I was like, "Dude, these are cool. I remember these." She's like, "Get some." I got those. I took them home, and then I told her, "Hey, you know what? I also remember G.I. Joe, He-Man, Sectors, Dragons and Daggers." She's like, "Well, why don't you start looking for stuff like that?" So I said, "Okay." So I started looking on swap meets, going and buying G.I. Joe. I'm like a 32-year-old looking through bins of G.I. Joes, like at random like toy shows and stuff. And everybody's looking at me and my family like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're collecting toys now?" Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, collecting toys now." And that's how it started. And I've been doing that. Then I started like getting to the point where I was like, "Man, I can make some money off of this stuff. Let's just start selling." So she was like, "Well, don't pushing me. Start an Instagram. What are you gonna call yourself?" I said, "Well, my sister, we used to play basketball on the back, and she was taller than me. And you know, being a paisa, she would be like, smack the ball. She'd be like, "Injuface," and I'd be like, "No, you don't say it like that. You say in your face." She's like, "Nah, but I say Injuface." So we were messing around, and I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, "I remember my sister telling me Injuface," and I'm like, "Well, it's kind of like in your face." So she's like, "Hey, let's go with that." I'm like, that's where it started, Injuface Toys. You know, and now look at where we're at. You know, we got our own store.
Hello, everybody. What's going on, people? Just letting you guys know that Injuface is about to start having its own store.
My father-in-law, typical Mexican father-in-law, he was like, would always tell my wife, "Está jugando con muñecos," you know, in Spanish. Like, why is he playing with toys, you know? So then one day, I go pick him up from LAX. We're on our way home. We stop by in Whittier. There's a Pokemon shop. So he stops there. My son wants to go in there. He takes him in there, and it blows his mind how people are just buying stuff. So he comes out of there and he's like, "We could do a toy store with all your toys in your room." And I was like, "Yeah, that's eventually where I'm gonna be." No, we gotta open it. We have to. It's a must. 2 days later go by, I'm at work, he calls me, he's like, "Hey, can we borrow your social? Can we borrow?" I'm like, "Huh? For what?" He's like, "Oh, come on down to this direction." I was like, "All right." So I go, I show up, they're all jumping up and down, they're like, "This is our toy store, this is a toy store." I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is our toy store." Next thing you know, I'm like, "You guys are kidding me, right?" Like, "No, here's your key, this is your toy store." Me personally, I was nervous. I didn't know it was gonna happen. I'm like, "Well, we don't have anything." So everything you see in here has been bought in the last 7 months. I just got into the point where it's like, we gotta open this store. And he was the one that actually supported me and was like, "You can do this, you're gonna be good." We've been open for 7 months and we're still trying to push it to the limit where it could be that toy store where you go just to find arbitrary toys that it's not gonna kill your pocket. That's what I want to do. Me personally, what I enjoy more is the people that walk in every day. I know it sounds corny. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, the people that come in." But then you go off camera and you're like, "I hate the people that come in." I don't. I love everybody that comes in. I love toys. I don't mind losing $1 or $2 on some of the stuff, as long as I see that the people that are taking it are actually like thrilled with their toy. Don't get me wrong, I have people in here that come in and they're resellers. They give you a whole story about like, oh, I'm not a reseller. Once you tell me that, I already know you're a reseller. So then I try to work with you in that way. But the people that actually come, show me their pictures like, oh look, I had this when I was a kid. Those are the stories that I love. This is why I love this store. And not just that, seeing the toys that come in sometimes, you know? I've never seen a scratch. And when somebody brought in a scratch last time, I was like, psh. And the guy's like, I found it in a box. It's like, yeah, it was under my TV and now it's here. Collectors are going crazy over it. Unfortunately, we haven't had a buyer. So anybody out there that watches the video, you need a scratch, come in. You know, little promo. From me opening the shop out of the blue, you know, not being prepared, like I've seen some guys they save so much amount of money and they're ready to go. Me, I just jumped into it. I say, do it if you love this and if you have a resourceable income. If you don't have love for this stuff, don't do it. The difficult part about owning a shop is, one, of course, you have to make money to pay your overhead. So you have to have the right prices. You have to, you know, be able to bring in the customers. That's the hard part about having a shop. I could have the most expensive toys in here, but what's the point if nobody's gonna come in for the same fact that your stuff is super overpriced? Another challenge, and I would suggest to people, is look at your community, where you're at. But the thing I love about here is that you have so many different cultures around us that you could have people that you would never think walk into your store and just remember the stuff, you know? I had this 13-year-old, he was telling me everything about Godzilla. I know Godzilla, but I don't know to the extent where he knew Godzilla. And his dad was telling me, oh yeah, we've been teaching him since he was a kid, he's been watching the movies, blah, blah, blah. It's amazing how you as a collector and all that help out your children, you know, if they're gonna be collectors. And that's why I say, you know, when you go to a toy store, appreciate a little bit of what they have. It might not be the greatest stuff or the stuff you look at, but it's a challenge to bring in stuff to the store so that the consumer could constantly be like, yeah, I like this store. And that's what we try to do here. It's not just like, oh, all vintage toys. We have accessories for women, because sometimes a lot of guys bring in their girls and they're like, oh man, I don't want to be in here, it's boring. We try to accommodate that. We try to have, we say girl toys, women toys, vintage ones, you know, like Care Bears and stuff like that. So all that is the hard part of owning a store. Bringing in the material that everybody's gonna wanna actually come and see. If you come in here and you just take a picture, that's cool with me too, you know, I don't mind. Because not everybody has the funds to like buy action figures, you know, or they don't have the room. I have a lot of people telling me that. I wanna buy this, I wanna buy that, but I don't have the room, you know, or I don't know where to store it. That's the pros and the cons of owning the store, you know. If you love it, you're gonna enjoy every day. I am a giant Incredible Hulk collector. I love them since I was a kid. My wife's like, well, why do you like the Hulk? You know, you could have liked Thor. Everybody likes Thor, everybody likes all the cool guys. I like the Incredible Hulk because I remember as a kid, sitting around the house with my mom, turning on Channel 5, who comes out? Luke Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk. Think about it. This guy went from a normal, geeky, normal guy, you piss him off, and what happened? Turns into this guy is gonna like pummel you. You know? Before it used to be G.I. Joe. A lot of people that know me, you know, oh, you're a G.I. Joe collector. It's there, it's in boxes, but it's not my main thing no more. It's, my wife told me one time, well, focus on something that you really love. I love that guy. He's green, you know, he's mean, and he's ready to kick it. And I think I'm a collector of anything, you know. Stuff that sometimes comes in my shop, I'm like, ooh, maybe I could keep this. Because I never had it, so I was like, like Toxic Crusaders, I never had them, but I saw them and I was like, yeah, I'll buy them, you know. And I was in the back of my head, I was like, well, if they don't sell, I'll take them to my house, you know? I know a lot of people that buy their action figures and they want them sealed, never to be touched. A toy was meant for you to play with. People tell me, like, oh, well, I got this collection, but it's all sealed. Like, it's nice, but to me, it's like, I'd rather play with it, you know? Even now that I'm old, like my collection, I'll move it around, I'll play with it. I play with my son, I have a 3-year-old, I mess with him. If you have kids, you try to make them buy the stuff they like. Like I try to influence the Hulk on my 3-year-old, and he was like, nah, dude, I don't like your Greek guy. I like Paw Patrol. You know? And I was like, all right, well, let's get you some Paw Patrol, you know? Right now, I'm proud of myself for what we've done, because I say we, because me and my wife, We put our hard work into this, you know? This is not like, oh, overnight we had all this stuff. We actually had to like go out and look for toys. You know, unfortunately I have a 9-to-5, so I can't go like to the swap meet. Like I seen all these guys at 4 or 5 in the morning going through bins with flashlights. I wish I was out there with you guys, you know? But I can't, I have an actual job. So I expect that people, when they come in with toys, also understand that. Be able to come in, bring some of your toys, get some money off of it, I get some toys, and we both win-win. Because I get some guys in here that, like everybody else, they want top dollar. It's like, you guys gotta understand, I'm a store. I gotta pay overhead, so cut me a deal. Where we're at right now, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm proud of what we've done because we're bringing in people. People are happy with our store. I've got so many compliments. I guess in this neighborhood, I've been in Baldwin Park, I think 5 years. From everybody that I hear talking, oh, there's never been a toy store. So that makes me proud. And I've had people come in here all the time. Some people take pictures. Some people like go crazy, like, who, you know, would you buy that sticker? I'm like, no, that's hand painted. They're like, oh, that's awesome. And then you get, you know, people find out stuff like that are hidden, you know. Like there's a Ratatouille down there. Only if you're really paying attention to our store will you remember like, oh, hey, there's a Ratatouille. I have people that are laying down there taking selfies with the little Ratatouille. Sorry, jumping out of the subject, but yeah, I'm very proud of where we're at right now. So at the moment, we do buy, we do sell. At the moment, I'm still trying to work on the whole trading thing. I still haven't gotten down to it because I feel like I want to give you a fair deal, but I also want to get a fair deal. So it's kind of, that's, I think, like, well, we go back to that topic of like, what's hard about owning the store is that, because then people get mad, like, why don't you want to trade? Well, it's like, it sounds bad me telling them like, well, because the stuff you're bringing me doesn't really move. And I don't feel right telling that person that. So right now we buy, we do sell. You can find us on Instagram, OfferUp, TikTok, help me out, wife, Yelp, Macari. See, she's a businesswoman. I'm just a toy collector. I remember you telling me like you always wanted G.I. Joes when you were a kid, but you didn't have them. And I remember selling you, I think it was a tank or something.
Yeah, the Hiss.
Yeah, I sold you a Hiss. And you know, and I told you, whenever you need anything, just let me know.